Hey guys, welcome back to Lammon Customs. Today we're going to be talking about a car that I picked up at an impound lot. Had some interesting stuff when I started going through the trunk. Found this old jacket, which is clearly from the 80s. I found this karate gi in there, and then found this trophy. It says second place All Valley Karate Championships 1984. No, just kidding, guys. We are going to be talking about the Cobra Kai Dodge Challenger, though, and how we came to acquire that vehicle. If you watch the channel for any length of time, you know I'm not really into new cars, but there's a few exceptions, and one of them was the Dodge Challenger. Now, I love that car when it first came out. It was a very sporty looking car and actually looked like a muscle car, so I had actually wanted to get one. I've had some success in life, and I've also had some failures and some setbacks. But it's those failures and setbacks that allowed me to get to the successes and also get to my dream muscle car. In 2019, I was working in a cabinet shop. We were working 4 10-hour days, so I always had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So that was one of the few perks of the job. Thursday rolls around, and right before quitting time, like 5 minutes, the boss calls me and says, "Hey, Bill, can I talk to you a second?" I'm like, "Okay." So I go in his office, and he says, "Hey, I can't have you come in Monday." And okay, you know, it's not a holiday, you know, Tuesday. He's like, "No, I can't have you come in Tuesday either." I'm like, what's going on? And then he proceeds to tell me that the company wasn't doing good. It had not been doing good for the previous year, and they're pretty much going belly up. I was shocked, honestly, because we had done quite a few big jobs, you know, a lot of projects and stuff. And then I had some frustration with that. You know, I asked him, I said, you know, why didn't you, tell me about this so I could start looking for another job or something, get something lined up. And he said, "Well, we're afraid. We didn't want to lose you. We had these big jobs we wanted to get done and stuff, and we didn't want you to, quit and go somewhere else." So that was the start of a very rough day. A few months prior, I'd asked my wife for a divorce, and a few weeks prior to getting laid off, she had actually moved out. So I had no financial support whatsoever, so it was just me, and here I was, no job, and still had all the bills, had the mortgage, all that, and I had 2 boys to raise. It was a little bit of a scary time. Had a lot of stuff going through my mind on the drive home, and when I got home, things got even worse. As I pull around the corner, I happen to look in my driveway, and I see that my Lincoln Navigator is gone, like missing. That took me completely by surprise, and first thought is somebody stole it. They are a very popular car for auto theft. Well, I called the police right away and found out that no, it wasn't stolen. It had been towed. It had been repoed. That's why it had been towed. Come to find out, long story short, my soon-to-be ex-wife at the time had taken out a title loan against the vehicle. It was only for a few $1,000s, but the vehicle loan did not get paid, so the company had it towed. To add insult to injury, they had towed it to another town about an hour and a half away. With all the exorbitant mileage and storage fees and all that stuff, it was thousands upon thousands in addition to the original loan. So ended up losing my vehicle. I had talked to the police, but since we were still technically married at the time, nothing they could do about it. So at that point, I was definitely feeling lower than a frog's behind. I really was. It was pretty much soul crushing. Lose your job, come home, your vehicle gets repoed all on the same day. I didn't know how I was going to support my kids, how I was going to pay the mortgage, how I was going to keep the lights on, buy groceries, any of that. It was a very dark day in my life. It honestly was. I think it was like, a week later or so, I was out at my dad's farm having dinner, and we were talking, and I happened to mention that I had set a goal for myself. I was going to rebound from this. I've been through tough things before and built myself back up, and I'd get out of it. So I set myself a goal, and my goal was I had wanted to buy a Dodge Challenger. The cars had come out a little bit prior to that, but they've been out for a while. But I absolutely loved them, and I thought they were sleek. They really were badass looking cars, and I wanted one. So I said my goal was in 5 years within 5 years I'm going to have a Dodge Challenger. My dad and his wife at the time, they laughed. They scoffed at the idea. They thought it was kind of silly. Here I am. I don't even have a job. I don't know how I'm even going to pay my bills, and yet here I'm talking about buying a sports car. And they even said they brought up like, those cars are $45,000 or more. How do you expect to do this? When you can barely afford ramen noodles. But I wasn't deterred. I knew hard work, dedication, and focus on that goal, I would end up getting that car. Sadly, my father would not live to see me actually accomplish that goal and get my dream car. He ended up getting cancer and passing away in August of 2020. Fast forward to 2001, and I actually ended up meeting somebody at hockey. I met Mandy at a hockey game when she was up in the hockey suite with me. And we started talking, just kind of became friends and stuff. And it was clear that she was interested in me, but at that point, I just wanted out of this town, honestly. I didn't want to get involved in a relationship or anything, but continued to be friends. And I was still looking for a vehicle, and I'd saved up a little bit of money, and we got talking and told her what I was looking for, and she didn't think my idea was stupid at all. She thought it was a great idea, have a goal and go after it. She said she'd do what she could to help me. So she started scouring Facebook Marketplace and checking all the different dealerships, websites, trying to find a car. We just couldn't really find anything locally, that was, a decent fit for what I was looking for. So she ended up finding one actually over in Minnesota and sent me the link, and I took a look at it. So the car was black. I was actually looking for either a red one, which was my first choice, or my second choice was a black one. And looked good and stuff. And the price seemed, a little tight, but she said she would help me with it. She'd help me cover the cost of the car, and she said, but that was going to require a relationship. And according to her, I said, well, I'll keep looking then. So we actually ended up going over to Minnesota and picked up the car, and she ended up doing the negotiating. And I thought I was shrewd at doing car deals. Man, she is a tough negotiator. She really is. She missed her calling in life. So we got them to come down on price significantly. We got the car and drove back home. Just so you know, Mandy has a little bit of a lead foot. She likes to scoot when she's behind the wheel. And we had been being careful because Minnesota, the speed tickets over there are obnoxious, honestly, in comparison to South Dakota. And their speed limit is also super, super slow. Our interstate here is 80 miles an hour. Most people do at least 90. But she was ahead of me, and we've got close to Aberdeen. We're probably less than 20 miles out. And I thought, okay, I want to catch up to her. So I thought, let's check out the new car. So let's punch it and see what she can do. So I hit the gas, and we're coming up over a bridge. And as I come up over the crest of the bridge, I look down on the other side, sitting there in the median. Sure enough, state trooper. I knew not to slam on the brakes and stuff because that would be super obvious. I just let off the accelerator and decided to coast. And I'm not going to say exactly how fast I was going, but it was a little bit faster than the posted sign. We both went by him and stuff, and I saw him in my rearview mirror turn on the lights and pull out. And I thought, oh boy, this is it. Surprisingly, he actually stopped Mandy. She was driving a Pacifica at the time. He ended up stopping her, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep on going, just don't look, just keep going. And I continued down the highway. Well, I didn't want to get too far away from her because I wanted to, find out what was going on. So I pulled over in a little approach and stuff, and I'm sitting there watching that, and I see him walk up, and he talks to her, and I kid you not, he literally ran from her vehicle back to his patrol car, jumped to the patrol car, took off, peeled out, took off, and came hauling butt down the road towards me. And I thought, oh, here we go. And sure enough, he pulled up behind me and stuff, gets out and, says, were you going a little fast? Of course, I'm not going to admit I was speeding. Told me, I just got in the car. So I gave him the paperwork because, it wasn't even in my name or anything, but gave him the paperwork, showed him the title, everything that had been handed and stuff when I bought the car in Minnesota and stuff. And, told him, I said, hey, I ain't owned the car for 6 hours yet, and here I am getting pulled over. But no, he was pretty cool. He actually let me off with a warning, which I do appreciate. That was very nice of him and stuff. And we maintained the posted speed limit all the way back home to Aberdeen. Uh, and when we got home, we kind of came up with a plan for what we're going to do with the car. And that's when the idea of doing the Cobra Kai car came about. Now, originally the Cobra Kai TV series had come out on YouTube before it actually ended up going to Netflix. It had been offered to Netflix and all the other network stuff. They all passed on. So originally it was on YouTube, and me and the boys, we loved watching that show, and it was good. To me, it was a throwback from the '80s, and what originally had gotten me into martial arts was the original Karate Kid film. And the boys loved this, and it was just a great show. But that car was just very, very cool. In the words of Johnny, that car was badass, and I agreed. So I figured, why not? Let's have some fun. So we got the car. We went and had some graphics done on it, and it turned out great. We definitely got some more work to do on it. I want to get the correct rims on it. We got to build a custom grill, as you see in the TV show and stuff. That's all custom made. So we're going to have to get the fiberglass out and come up with a plan and try to hammer that out. That might be a winter project this year. But we'll do some updates and stuff, get a little bit more up to date. And obviously, with it being a Minnesota car, it does have a little bit of rust here and there. It has some dents and dings. All that stuff is things I want to get taken care of, get corrected. I want this thing to look really, really sharp. So, but yeah, we got the headrest done. We got the Cobra snake head shifter. Got the graphics on it and stuff. It's looking pretty good. So definitely having fun with it. It's a fun little toy to have, and it all worked out. And Mandy, was right. That not only ended up in a relationship, but we ended up getting married. So but we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. And remember, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Oh wait. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. That really does help the channel. And I'll just throw this out here before we go. The intro music, as you can tell, was not AC/DC's Back in Black. We did actually check into getting the rights to use that song. We did not want to get a copyright strike. And the rights to use that song are about $200,000. So we had to pass on that for now. And the other thing too, I used a tumbler. This is just my tumbler that I got after I got the car done. I don't drink, but I wanted something to kind of pay homage to Johnny, because he's always drinking Coors in the TV show. So this is the next best thing. I got myself a tumbler so I can put my soda in here or my coffee or whatever and go that route. So that's what I was drinking out of a tumbler, not an actual Coors. So anyhow, we'll see you next time on Lammon Customs.